Hey, how do you do, guys? It's Brahim here, and welcome back to another episode of the Everyman's Road to Glory. Now, to start off today's episode, you can see we're jumping into some SBCs to unlock some, what are they? Wants to watch players. We're already back into the next promo in the game as I record this post commentary, and the episode goes live, obviously, in the Rule Breakers promo, but we're still well into the Wants to Watch promo because I recorded all this footage a couple of days ago. I didn't get around to really make the video fully until now. But yeah, today we're gonna be doing another couple of silver team objectives. Trying to get this. I don't know what it was called, the silver aces, whatever stuff done. As you can see, we did unlock Blaze Matuidi as well as James Rodriguez. Very excited about James Rodriguez because I think he's gonna get a lot of informs. And as you saw, even though he has that two-step weak foot and no pace, he's got very good stats as well as January upgrade or like mid-season upgrade inbound with a big pace improvement because he's shown himself to be a much faster player than the game shows him in real life. So yeah, very excited about that. But today we're going to be jumping into the best possible Saudi Arabia squad as we did last episode with a bit more detail this time around, looking a bit about like the history of Saudi Arabian football, a couple of the players in more detail, as well as just an actual overview over Saudi Arabia. Before that, we're gonna have our start of the episode, kind of a little bit of a pack opening as we complete a couple of SBCs to get those packs in. We're gonna do this one post commentary because I didn't think I had that like exciting packs. Like we get a small rare gold players pack from that one. I mean, it is 6 rares, so there's potential in there, but it's not like groundbreakingly good. If you're going to these SBCs, I wouldn't have recommended, like if you look at these kind of SBCs and you think 2 UEFA Champions League common players, okay, that's not going to be expensive. You go on the market and they're like going for 6-7k. Don't just go and buy them because EA do look out for you this year, and just have a look at the SBC at the objectives, whether there's anything in there you can unlock, which will give you rewards that will help you with those. So we waited to unlock those before getting into those SBCs because you get one, as I show you here in the UCL group stages. If you complete that SBC, you get a two common UEFA Champions League player pack, so you can get that SBC down for free. But yeah, jumping into those two packs to start out today's episode. The rare gold pack to start out with. We already get boards. Spanish, right mid, very good. It's Fiorentina's Calicon. I'm very excited to get Calicon. I was thinking about putting him into my Serie A squad. We've got some huge upgrades to the Serie A squad in the last few days. I'll show you those at the very end of the episode in the outro. So that kind of makes wingers obsolete because there aren't that many good wingers in the Serie A. So we went for a narrow formation, looking to utilize more cams and strikers. But yeah, decent pack, 84 rated, a couple of good players for SPCs and some good consumables to sell. So very happy with that one. And the other pack we got in the last dance SPC whatever, it's untradeable, but it's 6 rares. So let's see what we get from this one. Hopefully it's gonna be boards at least. It is. It's Brazilian. It's center forward. It's Liverpool. Ooh, it's Roberto Firmino. Man, I've been getting so lucky in packs. We get an untradeable 87 rated Roberto Firmino. He's got such good stats. 90 dribbling, 80 shooting, 81 passing, 4-star, 5-star, I do believe, as well as an inform in the pack. And like only one player low rated than 82, which isn't a special card. Like, what a pack! He goes for like 100k. I didn't know. High, 5-star, 4-star, 511. Like, that is one of the best base cards you can get, and we got it outside the foot shot trade, flare trade. I'm so psyched about that. Incredible! I can't wait to build a squad around him. I tell you, very very cool to have him in. And yeah, I think that's gonna leave us with the menu stuff to start out today. Now we're gonna have a look at what's sold on the transfer list. A couple of good sales there. Decent money coming into the club, keeping our core balance well over the 200,000. That obviously is going to go down to the end of the episode as we made some upgrades to our Serie A teams. But we're going to be jumping into squad battles now to complete those silver objectives. As you can see, we also claimed our rewards for last week's squad battles where we finished bronze 1. And we're going to start out with a game on world class, was it? I thought I went professional for those. But yeah, as we look through the team, Alawais is the national team goalkeeper for Saudi Arabia as well. Decent wear on stats, nothing too impressive. Al Buraik has been a mainstay for the national team as well since 2017, and he's going to be our creator from the right hand side. That's why we put an artist captain on him to swing those crosses in. The Hassawi brothers, I don't know if they're actually related. They're also decent, getting a lot of appearances. The elder one, our captain, is also the captain of the national team. Abulai only got like 5 caps, nothing too impressive. Al Sharani has been a mainstay in the team since deputizing in 2012, so he's a very big player for the Saudi Arabian national team. Atif not so much, but he's a very good player for us. He's gonna like switch those passes over the defense. That's what I'm looking for from him. Alvarez is very all-round, a very all-action midfielder, good player, and he's one of the 2 players who scored in the most recent World Cup, so that's cool to have him in. Aseri also 20 caps, decent. Cano 7 caps, even 1 goal from his CDM position, which he normally plays in. We obviously converted into his central forward to get the best possible rating in the squad. And Al-Dassari is not just a superstar for our team, and we're going to looking for him for some goals. He's also a superstar for the Saudi Arabia team, scoring 6 goals in his time there. And also, when you look not at the bench but at the reserves, because Guido is going to be coming off the bench for now to complete some objectives. But later on, we're going to bring Al Muwallad on off the bench. He's an insane player for the national team. He is like 48 caps, 10 goals, and he's been a mainstay since he's 18 years old, and an insane player. But sad thing for him is he was doping in 2019. He was caught doping, so putting illegal substances into his body to boost his performance levels, and he was kind of banned from football for a year then, and his rating went down massively. Like he had a 74 in FIFA 18, then a 72 in FIFA 19, and wasn't in the game last year, obviously, because he was banned from football. He's been straight back into his former team Al Ittihad and straight back into the Saudi Arabian national team. Now he is down at 69 rated, but it looks like he's picking up his game again, and he's going to be a mainstay for both those teams again. And as we jump into some gameplay, that's just kind of go on in the background because the first 2 games are played on professional, on squad battles. All the games wasn't like competitive FIFA. We did up that difficulty bit by bit in squad battles, just to make it a bit more challenging. But I would recommend going into the team of the week and featured squad on squad battles always on professional at the most, because it doesn't really make that much of a difference in terms of the points you gain. You can only get 100 points more per difficulty, but it makes it way easier to complete objectives. Just have a look at the objectives, jump into squad battles, team of the week or featured squad, and you can finish a load of the objectives and get not much less points than you would otherwise. As this is going to go on in the background, we're going to be jumping into some friendlies after finishing our squad battles objectives, because there was a new team of the week silver player unlockable via the objectives. It was Mukhtar from the MLS. Looks like a very good card with his 5-star weak foot as well. We'll have a look at him later. We're just going to jump into a bit of knowledge to go on Saudi Arabia. So just jumping into it. Saudi Arabia is one of the is officially known as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Western Asia. It constitutes the bulk of the Arabian Peninsula, so it's definitely the biggest country there, and it's the largest sovereign state in all of Western Asia as well, and the 2nd largest Arab country in the world behind Algeria, and the 12th largest country in the world. So quite impressive, quite a big country in terms of on the entirety of the world. It has a population of 34 million, with its capital being home to 6.5 million. The capital is Riyadh, and its official state language is Arabic. It's not going to be all this like reading of a thing. Just for the general info, I kind of need to. Most of its terrain consists of arid desert, lowland, mountains, so nothing too green or impressive, but a couple of good spots on the countryside, especially with some huge buildings. And it was once the site of several ancient cultures and civilizations, so there was a lot of human habitation going on there, dating back to as early as 125,000 years ago. So that's utterly insane. One of the earliest habitations of humans ever throughout the world. It's the the Islam, the world's second largest religion, did emerge in the area of the Saudi Arabian territory. And allegedly Prophet Muhammad united the population of Arabia in the 7th century there. The country is also sometimes referred to as the land of the two holy mosques, in reference to the Al-Masjid Al-Haram and the Al-Masjid Al-Nabawi, sorry if I mispronounced that, and are more commonly known as Mecca and Medina, obviously the two holiest places in all of the Islam. Let's move on to a bit of an overview on the economy in Saudi Arabia. It's the largest economy in the Middle East and the 18th largest in the world, so quite big as well, which makes them one of the only Arabian country to be part of the G20 major economies. So the G20 summit, they're part of that. And this is mostly due to the amount of petroleum found in the terrain of Saudi Arabia. It was first discovered in 1938 in the eastern province, and more sources have been found since, making Saudi Arabia is today today the world's second largest oil producer behind the United States and the largest oil exporter in all of the world. The result of this is that the kingdom is classed a World Bank high-income economy and having a very high human development index. And well, even though that sounds very good, as we can see when we look at the politics side of it, it doesn't translate into really all of the population. Because Saudi Arabia was originally united by conquest in 1902 from four formerly sovereign, different, separate districts. It was united by Ibn Saud, whose full name is, bear with me, Abdulaziz ibn Abdul Rahman ibn Faisal ibn Turki ibn Abdullah ibn Muhammad al Saud. I'd love to know what those ibn mean in between the bits, but no idea. And he officially founded the kingdom 30 years after uniting those in 1932, so the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And obviously, as you heard there, it bears his name, and this also explains the Arabic country, the name of the Arabic country being derived from the ruling family, the Al Sauds, who basically have the right to possess the country in the very name as stated in the constitution. Saudi Arabia has since been a totalitarian absolute monarchy governed along Islamistic lines by the House of Saud. The state has seen itself criticized for many reasons. Those include its role in the Yemen civil war, where they committed many a war crime, sponsorship of Islamic terrorism, its failure to combat human trafficking, and of course its poor human rights record, which has been characterized by the problematic treatment of women and the state-sponsored discrimination against religious minorities. Now, I do want to keep these episodes a bit more light-hearted because at the end of the day, it's FIFA, and we just want to have a overview of the country. Look at the overview of the country. Look at some fun facts about the national team. Maybe some plates they serve there, and have it a bit more fun and light-hearted in there. But as Saudi Arabia is a very controversial one, and I study political science, it's quite interesting to me, and I don't want to keep that from you, like the information in there. So it's going to be a bit of a grim one, but we're going to look to change that for future ones. Now. All of this poor treatment of their people is largely due to the fact that the country bases its legal system on Sharia's law, which is an Islamic law derived from mainly the Quran, which is the central religious text of Islam, of course, believed by Muslims to be the revelation from their God Allah, and Allah apparently dictated the contents of that to Prophet Muhammad via Archangel Gabriel. Who wrote it down over a series of 23 years towards the end of his lifetime, between 609 and 632. And the text, it is obviously a text that has been written a long time before the Age of Enlightenment, much less could have considered the impacts that globalization would have and democratization as well. So I don't know, nor do I claim to know much about the contents of the Quran, but I know for certainty, no matter what it is, a text that old it just cannot be the basis of free and healthy country's law. But it obviously is the basis of Saudi Arabia's law, so that is highly problematic. But nor is it because, as mentioned before, Saudi Arabia is a highly corrupt and problematic country, proven by the fact that they spend 8% of their GDP, that's the gross domestic product, so the market value of all produced goods in the country. They spend 8% of that each year on their military, making them the third biggest military spenders worldwide, even though they are just the 12th largest country in the world. behind only the bigger nations in China and the US. And the world's largest arms importer. So they imported the most arms between 2015 and 2019, which just shows how much terrorism and war crimes they have been sponsoring. Now, this leads us a bit to an overview of a bit more recent history. And since 2011, Saudi Arabia has been home to its own Arab Spring protests. The Arab Spring obviously describing a series of public protests, often escalating in civil wars throughout Arabia. Most notably, it was in Syria, of course, like throughout the Arabic realm, calling for more rights for citizens, following a growing unrest with the corrupt leadership of the respective countries. But in 2011, the King Abdullah gave the citizens a series of benefits, the then King Abdullah, in funding for new homes and creation of some secure jobs. This alongside the introduction of municipal election in 2011, with women even being permitted to participate in electing as well as being elected since 2015, which is a huge step forward for the nation, has prevented these protests from escalating. So it doesn't mean that the country has become much more liberate in the grand scheme of things, but there's not been a problem for the leadership following those protests. Now, those municipal elections, to go into those a bit, they're just like for mayors and for regional stuff, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't get to decide much. So it's to give the people a bit more of a feel of being free rather than actually being free. Now, since the country is being led now by Salman al Saud, and he's the king and the prime minister since 2015, but internationally there's more focus on his crown prince in Mohammed bin Salman. That has a couple of reasons, mostly because he's a very controversial figure, definitely the more controversial figure of the two leading guys in the country. Recently, he's been in the press for defending China's re-education camps for the Muslim majority of the Uyghurs in China. The situation in those is absolutely horrible and ugly. Apparently, it kind of resembles those of concentration camps back in Nazi Germany. Before that, there was already a massive controversy surrounding bin Salman, because he's believed to be behind the alleged assassination of the Saudi Arabic critical journalist Jamal al-Khashoggi. He obviously was big in the news back then. He entered the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul on the 2nd of October 2018, and he never came back out, being followed in by a couple of Saudi Arabian, I don't know what exactly, but never came back out, obviously. And highly controversial figure, obviously, bin Salman. And just for a bit of a fun fact, sad fun fact, of course, since the early 2000s, Saudi Arabia has engaged in widespread internet censorship, censoring immoral content, which includes pornographic, LGBT equality supportive, or websites promoting any other religious ideology than their Sunni Islam, as well as the content which is critical of Saudi Arabia or is opposed by Saudi Arabia. This, of course, means that people in Saudi Arabia can currently probably not even watch this video. And before we move on to some more lighthearted stuff with the footballing history, I'd just like to say, not for my sake, but for the people's sakes, of course, I really, really hope that changes and fast so too, because the situation in the country, it is horrid, and it's not a free country, it's far from it. And I really hope there's movement in there. And obviously, I'm a pacifist, and I can't see, I hate to see war or any sort of combated conflict, but I really do think those people should stand up for the rights, and I think we should too, to be honest. Now, moving on to the footballing history. It's been fairly recent. I think they were only left to combat in the Asian Confederation since the early 1980s. But the football is the national sport in Saudi Arabia. They are known as either Al Sukkur or Al Akhtar, meaning the Falcons or just the Green, which is a lovely nickname, just the Greens. The national team is considered one of Asia's most successful national teams, having reached 6 AFC Asian Cup finals even though they were only integrated into the early 1980s, winning 3 in 1984 and 1988 already, and the most recent one was in 1996. So they're slacking behind the recent success, the early success a bit currently. They have competed in 5 World Cups as well, including the most recent one in 2018. Before then, they had a streak of 4 between 1994 and 2006. Their maiden campaign in 1994 was the most successful one. They reached the round of 16 for the only time in when they qualified for the Champions League, for the World Cup, obviously. And they beat Morocco as well as Belgium in the group stages before sadly being knocked out to Sweden in the round of 16. The arguably biggest achievement, though, was away from Asian competition, obviously winning the Asian Confederations Cup 3 times, was that they they were able to reach the final of a senior FIFA competition, which was the then format of the Confederations Cup. It took place in Saudi Arabia, so on home soil for them, and they reached the final there. It was then known as the King Fahd 1992 Cup. And they lost 3-1 to Argentina in that final, so sadly just about one step away from the big success. Now, the current state of performances in the 2008 World Cup in Russia was definitely acceptable by their standards, though not too impressive because they got pummeled in the first game by the host nation of Russia, which was kind of a group which could have gone any which way. Like it was Uruguay, Russia, Egypt and Saudi Arabia. Nobody obviously expected Russia to overperform as they did. A host nation Russia did pummel them 5-0 in the opening game, but they lost to Uruguay 1-0 in the second game, so down 6-0 in goal difference, no points gained. But they did win their first game on the world stage since their inaugural World Cup in 1994, beating Egypt 2-1 in the last game, which made it a very acceptable campaign, finishing third in their group. And in the most recent AFC Asian Cup, they disappointed quite heavily. They failed to win their group, finishing second behind Qatar and subsequently losing to Japan in the round of 16 by a 0-0. Due to their poor finishing, they did create many chances, but sadly couldn't get the win. Yeah, and now they are led by the manager Hervé Renard, who followed in Argentinian coach Juan Antonio Pizzi's footsteps. Don't know much about him. He was formerly of Morocco, but as for now in the squad, exactly that. We had a bit of a talk about their squad. Just talking about a couple of players on the bench. We already mentioned Al Muwallad, who's very impressive. Sadly, that doping history behind him, not showing him in a great light. We also got Al Shehi, who is the right midfielder. He came on a couple of times in that central midfield for us, creating a bit, because he's got very good creative stats, not too much pace. He did he's now 30 years old. He made his debut at 19 years of age in 2009, and today he's apparently the captain of the national team, even though Hassawi was captain the most recent game. I think he's retired by now. He's like the 35-year-old who's also our captain in that centre-back. And very impressive, appearing 58 times, which is the most of any player currently in the squad. I don't know what the record is. I think that is Al Habsi's, the goalkeeper from Stoke, who recently retired. He scored 7 goals in that time, and he's been an absolute mainstay in the first squad since 2014. But for us, though, he hardly appeared off the bench. But he's been handy whenever he came on, as I mentioned. Now that's basically, like, we also got the super sub at right wing, the Salman Al-Murasha, who always came on the right wing. As you can see him running in behind there and assisting a ball for Al-Muwallad, as he did so often, just proving for us that pace is king. Like, no matter how good the stats the player have, I had a very specific gameplay, like a patient builder player I wanted to have with this team. But at the end of the day, when I brought on those 2 pacey wingers to play, one on the right hand side down the wing, one down the middle, just running in behind, it just changed the game every time. But yeah, to end out to our section about Saudi Arabia, just having a quick look, because it's kind of the most important thing right now. The current situation surrounding COVID-19 in Saudi Arabia. Now, the first case was confirmed on March the 2nd, so it was hit at a similar time as did all the European countries, and Saudi Arabia had the most confirmed cases in the Arab states of the Persian Gulf for the early parts of the pandemic, which is kind of clear because they are definitely the biggest country of those. But following rigorous curfews and lockdowns between late March and late June, allowing the Hajj, the annual Islamic pilgrimage to Mecca, to take place, though with no more than 10,000 pilgrims are there instead of the near 2.5 million which were there in the year before. In terms of the economic hit, as per everywhere, it has been absolutely catastrophic. With the loss of the Hajj and the people going to the Hajj, which is huge income from them, obviously 2.5 million people coming into your country, you're going to make a lot of money on touristy things. As per everywhere, like in terms of the economy, sorry, we already had that. It also was hit by the oil price dropping, and the economy is believed to have gone down by around 10% until this stage. But even more importantly, it has hit a record 15.4% low of unemployment rate. And the further development of the coronavirus cases has seen the curve showing active cases at its peak in early July at 63,000 cases at one stage, current cases at that time, and dwell down to currently around 8,000 cases. So it seems to be under control, but a second wave is probably incoming as we see throughout Europe currently, and it's probably going to happen throughout the world as well. Sadly, the second wave is just an inevitable factor in pandemics and epidemics throughout time. Total number of cases since the outbreak is currently, as of October 23rd, 344,000, with 500 and 215,000 deaths. So they have been hit quite hard, both economically and obviously in people getting sick and dying from the disease as well. And hopefully they can turn it around, and it'll be interesting to see how the record unemployment rate will affect potential protests throughout the nation, maybe a return of the Arab Spring to Saudi Arabia. We will see how that develops. Now that is all I have on Saudi Arabia. And as you can see, we're almost done with all of our objectives. We're into the silver lounge now, having just lost the second game we played, I do believe. And we're looking to, I think we completed all of the other objectives like assisting and scoring and stuff. We're just looking to get our second win now, just to get those objectives done. And see if we can create in this game. But as you can see, our opponent on the offensive, and just to tell you a bit about the game plan I had for the games. We had that 5-3-2 setup, no 5-2-3 setup. I did that just because I do it on ratings per position, so the highest rated squad on average per position I can get out of it. That's why we're playing a CDM at striker, because there isn't any striker over 65 rated throughout the national team of Saudi Arabia. And Kano, he did a decent job holding up play, bringing others into play, scoring a couple of goals. But as you can see, whenever Al Muwalla came on off the bench, he just scored loads of goals. We had a red card in this game. Went from 1-0 down back to 2-1 up. And obviously our game plan was to kind of play from that solid 5 at the back. Like, none of our centre backs are really any big threat from corners, nor are they good at build-up play. And as you can see, 3-2 up, we make it 4-2, and finally we get and that must have been our first win in the silver launch. Sorry, I said that wrong before, because our second one will come later on. And what I was trying to say was, we obviously just build from a solid defense, like not that they're gonna bring anything to the build-up play, but just to be solid at the back, and then we go for. As you can see, Kano hitting an amazing shot. Like, he's got that insane shot power. He doesn't really have composure, attack positioning, or finishing in those areas. He'd be more of a long shot king, but he didn't get into many long shot shooting positions, obviously playing up front at striker. But sometimes he just did hit a wonder goal. And trying to build from that solid defense, looking for a right back to create from out wide. That was one of the things I had planned, which didn't work out at all, to be fair. He didn't get it forward as much as I told him to and hoped he would. And like whenever he delivered crosses, they did most of the time find a man, but not in the manner and position I would have liked it to. So we hardly ever scored a goal from his assists. And when we move in, and Al-Sharani on the left-hand side should have been more of a defensive solidifier, but also did go forward quite a bit and contributed to our attacking play as well. As you can see, us coming back here from 2 goals down to force extra time with our super subs once again. Al-Muwalla just going through the centre there and laying it off to Al-Faraj, sorry, that's it. And I'm moving on to Alpha Raj. He's an all-action midfielder, creating a lot of opportunities for us. And as you can see, Sulaihim, that was the only time he came on for us, the central midfielder. Most of the time we only brought those two wingers on for us, as well as sometimes Al-Shari, the right midfielder playing in central midfield. And yeah, so we had, where was I? Sorry. We had Alpha Raj, all-action midfielder, creating many opportunities, as we heartbreakingly lost this game 5-4. And it was very good for us. Nothing too special to note, like he wasn't like scoring goals at an extraordinary rate or anything. But he was very decent for us, as you can see him create the chance for our first goal in this game. And then we had Atif, and he looked like the most unexciting player of the lot. Like he had 40 pace, he had no dribbling, he had decent-ish passing, decent-ish defending. We boosted him with the powerhouse to have very good defending, which I didn't notice much of, and insane passing, like vision and long passing. And he was just a revelation. Like I just played the ball to him, and whichever pass I figured is semi-realistic to pull off, as you can see us claim our rewards here of all of the objectives we completed. As we are now finished with all of those silver objectives, ready to jump into a new squad builder for the next episode. And at the end of this episode, I'll obviously show you my Italian squad, my Serie A squad, and the improvements we made on that one. And well, Atif, I just gave him the ball, and he just pinged the ball over the top, pinged the ball like a switch to the other side, and it was just a joy to behold. It's not the way to play FIFA, as we have seen at the end of all those games, bringing on Al-Muwallad and Mubashar off the bench, running in behind. But still, like it was very nice to see how good passing can be in this game, and I really recommend you guys try it. Like once you have a player in the 85, 90 in terms of vision and 85 plus in terms of long and short passing, it's just so easy and fun to do. And yeah, then we also had the front line. I talked about Kano, not as impressive, linking up play quite nicely, but not really getting into that many shooting and scoring opportunities as I would have hoped. And whenever he did get a header off, he like at his 6'3", I was hoping he would get a lot of headers and good opportunities from there, but he just he missed them miserably. And we also had, what else do we have? We had Aseri down the right hand side. I wanted him to just dribble inside and lay the pass off, or maybe go for the shot with his dead-eye cam style. He just wasn't much to see. There wasn't much going on throughout our right-hand side at all. But he did have a couple of good performances, so I'm not going to complain too much. And also we have Al-Dossari, who was definitely the star of the team behind the super sub Al-Muwallad, who scored many goals. But Al-Dossari, he was very decent for us, cutting in from the right-hand side, scoring many goals, creating many opportunities for Kano as well, and the midfielders overlapping. So he was probably the most impressive player of the lot. He's obviously the highest rated player of the lot. So if ever you're looking for a silver star, first of all, don't look at Saudi Arabia. They're not that good. But if you do, Al-Dossari and Al-Muwallad, you can't do much better. As you can see, we open a couple of those packs right now in post-commentary, just because they're not that impressive packs, and we're probably not going to get any good players from them. And we're going to be jumping into a live commentary for the outro now, to open the big packs we have there. There's like 4 packs. We're going to lock some of them now as well, so we are checked through SPCs. But opening all those 75 plus rare gold players, so just rare gold player packs. Let's see if we can get any board from them. It's rather unlikely. We get John Stones from the first one. Sorry for my phone going off there. And let's see what we get from the second one. It's gonna be not a board neither. It's gonna be Plattenhard, who's slow. But all of those players will obviously go into SPC, so it's not bad to have them. And I did have a lot of fun finishing those silver objectives and with our Saudi Arabia squad. Now we have Muslera, 82 rated. Wow, that's very good to have an untradeable 82 rated player just for free like that, just for having a bit of fun in the Silver Lounge friendlies. Another 75 rare player pack. What's it gonna be? It's gonna be Nacho Monreal. Decent as well. An 80 rated left back here, go handy into some SPCs. You can't complain too much about that. So to add to this episode, we'll just have a quick last look at the squad. Just have a look what the players did for us as we jump in. Otherwise, 7 games, Nothing is impressive in stats because they don't track stats for goalkeepers that good. Albureik, 7 games, 2 assists, quite nice. We have Hafsawi, the first one, 7 games, 1 assist as well. Wow, didn't know he got that one. Hafsawi, 7 goals and 7 games and a goal from a corner that was. Abdullahi, just 7 games, as did Al Shirani. Like, obviously they only track the games in squad battles. I didn't show you that one. I did quit out of a game because it was just so frustrating playing against professional with skillers up top against legendary skillers up top, because it's just such a unrealistic and boring gameplay. Atif I talked about before in the postcom a bit, and he's just what a player, what a player. Like, I love this passing. As you can see, we just boosted his passing. He's shit everywhere else. You have to say it. Already defending with that boost, but he's just shit everywhere else. But with that 90 vision and 86 long passing, he just pinged a lot of balls, and it was very fun to see. And I didn't think I'd enjoy him as much as I did. We also got Al Faraj, 7 games, 2 goals, 3 assists, very impressive, good contribution from him. Asari, as I said, not too impressive, not too much happening on the right hand side, but 7 games, 2 assists, 2 goals, 2 assists, not too bad either. Kana up front, apparently got 5 assists, which is a lot more than I thought, and very good to see. 7 games, 2 goals and 5 assists. And Aldasari got 2 goals and 2 assists. Obviously, into Vidra, he got those 10 goals he needed for that objective. Didn't bring him ever on. Almuvala got 3 goals from 4 games, but obviously a load more in the Silver Lounge. Mubasha got 5 games and 3 assists. And Al-Shari didn't impress when he came on in squad battles. He was obviously that guy I talked about, the captain of the national team. Now, to end of today's episode, as I promised you guys, we've got a load more huge packs. We've got 6. I'm not sure I showed you where I got the others. I did finish the... we're not going to open the pre-order ones. I'm going to discard those as I did before. We finished the SBC, the Squad Challenge Group. I don't think I showed you. Did I show you? I'm not sure. No, man, I did finish the what's it called? Oh my god, I'm so confused. The UEFA Champions League marquee matchups group. So yeah, we've got 4 good packs here. We're just gonna start out with the small prime gold players pack, and probably nothing too impressive in there. And hopefully we got something out of today's episode. Stick around because first of all, exciting packs. Hopefully we're gonna get something good. And second of all, we're also going to be showing you the improvements I made to the Serie A squad. Now we've got Nick Pope in here. It's untradeable. Nothing to write home about, but nothing to get annoyed about either. Getting a couple of untradables players in there. We also got the Primex players pack, which is not a too impressive one. And maybe, just maybe, we're going to get a board player, a Walker. We've been very lucky with packs. You never know with us. It's going to be boards. It is not. It's going to be a rare gold. It's going to be Victor Moses at 78 rated. Yeah, not too excited about that one. Anyone who could be going for a bit, I don't think there is. I'll have a look at the silvers. You never know with the silvers, as well as the rare bronzes. But I don't think any one of those is going to be selling. So the big packs, we're going to go into the rare Electron players packs, which is just 6 rare gold players. So there's 6 rare silvers, which might be worth something as well. Let's see what it is. It's not going to be boards. Oh no. I kind of expect them at this stage with packs as good as these, but it's fine. We've got a Soyuncu. Shouldn't complain too much. We've got, Champions League De Jong. Is he going for anything? Not really. There might be a time where they'd be going more expensive. Schmid might be going for a bit because of the new life for Friendly. Mina, the Pauli, he wouldn't. I might. I'll just send them all up. Kalu, we'll see what he goes for, and everybody else shouldn't be going for any money really. But there we go, the rare mega pack. Last but not least, it's a very good. Where did we get that from? I'm not even sure anymore. But it's an insane pack. Hopefully we got something insane from it. Please, yes, it's a board. Brazilian striker, is it Jesus again? Yes, come on, boys. It's the second time in the series we packed Gabriel Jesus. We love our Manchester City strikers. We also packed Aguero it was. We sold him for 140,000 coins. We sold Jesus last time for 80,000. Oh, it's untradeable. Oh my god, what a link up we have. Roberto Firmino and Gabriel Jesus. Wow, that's insane. Boys, sadly I'm gonna have to cut across myself there. We're gonna keep this area squad I alluded to earlier for a squad builder for the next episode, just as a bit of a teaser in this one. But if you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, follow my Twitter as well. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.